All right, everybody, welcome back. We got a great topic today, all about memorization techniques.
Yep, should be interesting.
Yeah, tons of you wrote in asking for this deep dive. So many people struggle with remembering things, right?
For sure. Happens to all of us. It really is the foundation for learning new things, though.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. First things first, before you even try to memorize something.
Understanding.
Yeah, you got to get it. I mean, it makes sense. Like, if I'm trying to remember character names in a book,
Right.
I have to understand the plot first, or it's all just a jumble of random words.
Exactly. And there are techniques you can use to make sure you're understanding properly, like
Like what?
the Feynman technique. Have you heard of that?
Rings a bell, but refresh my memory.
Basically, you pretend you're explaining it to a kid.
Oh, okay.
And if you get stuck or can't explain it simply, that means you need to go back and brush up on your own understanding.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
So once you understand something, then what? How do you actually get it locked in there?
Well, that's where the real fun begins, with the memory techniques themselves.
Okay, lay it on me.
All right, so let's start with one we all know. Mnemonics.
Ah, the classic mnemonics. You mean like ROYGBIV for the colors of the rainbow?
Precisely. It's all about using those little shortcuts.
They can be pretty helpful for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Acronyms, rhymes, little songs.
Songs. Okay, now you have to give me an example.
Okay, how about this? My very educated mother just served us noodles
What?
to remember the planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune.
Oh, wow. I remember learning that in grade school. That's a good one. I haven't thought about that in years.
See? Works like a charm.
It's all about those associations. Okay, so mnemonics are great for lists and stuff, but what about more complex information?
Well, for that, you might want to try visualizing.
Visualizing, like making pictures in your head.
Exactly. Our brains are wired for images, so creating a vivid picture can help you remember things way better.
You know, I used to make mind maps when I was studying for exams.
There you go.
And I swear, I could remember pages and pages of information just by looking at that one image.
It's powerful stuff. You can also use it for smaller things like remembering a grocery list.
Oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
instead of just a boring list.
You could picture all those items in some crazy scenario, like riding a giant banana through the store.
Okay, that's a funny image. I can see how that would stick with you. So what else?
All right, how about chunking?
Chunking. Okay, what's that one?
You know how we remember phone numbers in chunks, like 3 digits, then 4?
Oh, yeah, that's way easier than trying to memorize 10 numbers all at once.
Exactly. It works because our short-term memory can only hold so much information at a time.
Oh, interesting. So it's about working with, like, the natural limits of our brains.
Precisely. And you can use chunking for all sorts of things, learning a new language, for example.
Breaking down those long vocabulary lists makes sense. So let's say we've chunked and visualized and mnemonicked our way to understanding. What's next?
Well, now we got to make sure it all sticks.
Oh, right. How do we get it into long-term memory?
Practice retrieval. This is key.
Okay, tell me more.
It's simple, really. Flashcards, quizzes, even just explaining the concept to someone else.
That forces you to actively recall the information instead of just passively reading it.
You got it. It's like working out a muscle. The
Yeah.
more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Gotcha. Practice makes perfect.
Okay.
But when is the best time to practice? Like, how often should we be reviewing?
Well, that's where something called spaced repetition comes in.
Spaced repetition. Now that's a new one.
It's based on the idea that we forget things quickly at first.
Oh, tell me about it. Happens to me all the time.
Right. But then the rate of forgetting slows down over time.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So spaced repetition has you review material at increasing intervals.
Like review it a day later, then a week later, then a month later.
Exactly. This helps keep the information fresh in your mind and gradually moves it into long-term memory.
Wow, that's so cool. And are there tools for that? Like apps that can help you keep track?
Oh, yeah, tons of them. They use algorithms to personalize your review schedule. It's really neat.
I'm going to have to check that out. You know, there's one thing I've always noticed about myself. When I try to explain something to someone else,
Yeah.
I end up understanding it so much better myself. It's like in the process of teaching, I'm actually the one who's learning the most.
You know, that's a really great point, and it's backed by science. It's called the protege effect.
The protege effect. I love that. There's a name for it.
When you teach someone else, you have to organize your thoughts, simplify complex ideas, and answer questions. This active engagement with the material solidifies your own understanding and memory.
So basically, if you want to learn something well, teach it.
Exactly. Pass it on.
I like that. Okay, last one I want to touch on. Associations.
Oh, associations. Another great technique.
Yeah, I've heard about this, like linking new information to something you already know.
Right. Like, imagine you need to remember a historical date. Let's say, the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, 1776.
Perfect. Now, what if you connect that date to something personal? Like maybe your grandma was born in 76.
Oh, I see. Even if it's a totally random connection.
Exactly. The quirkier, the better.
Because it makes it memorable.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so we've covered a lot. To recap, we've got understanding the material deeply, using memory tricks like mnemonics and visualization, chunking information, actively recalling it, spacing out our practice, teaching others, and making meaningful associations.
Phew. That's quite the toolbox. But the important thing is that you now have all these different strategies to try out.
Yeah, everyone learns differently. It's about finding what works best for you.
Absolutely. Experiment and have fun with it.
Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot more confident in my memory skills now.
Good. Remember, your memory's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
So keep flexing those brain muscles, everyone. Until next time.